Hello, my name is Shelby Willis, and this is my action research project, Understanding Our Own Stress. Hello, my name is Shelby Willis, and this is my action research project, Understanding Our Own Stress. My action research project focused on the daily amount of stress students have in their lives, the where, the why, and the how. And so when I began the meeting, I started with the gorilla story, which focused on how tradition was created, as not everyone knows in the second or third generation how the tradition started. And then I related this to how it affects us as a society, as there are multiple ways in our lives that stress is thrown on us. For example, when students all worry about a test together. Next, I related it to how it affects us personally, as there are multiple facets of our lives that all induce stress. Then the second part of my action research project, I created this circle of trust with the group, and we allowed each person to share any or all stresses he had. The listeners, of course, were allowed to only ask open-ended questions, meaning that the individual sharer was allowed to find a way to take control of this stress, if you will. And then the third aspect of this project was the holding of a small meditation period to help de-stress. And so, with my action research project, my feedback loops were very simple. My first feedback loop was myself. My second feedback loop was a close friend that I've known since high school, freshman year to be exact, and she now attends USD with me. My third feedback loop consisted of other participants who filled out a quick survey at the end of the meeting, giving 2 positives and 2 negatives of my leadership skills. And so, focusing on my first and second loops, these are the several pointers that my friend and I realized. I noticed that I personally would apologize if I accidentally messed up, distracting everyone from the task at hand instead of continuing on. I would talk too quickly if I got really uncomfortable from standing up, so I sat down. I was still nervous though, so I was stuttering and slurring words together while speaking. I would try to sound more like a friend than like someone that was running a meeting. I felt like I was unprepared for the project, though I made sure that everything was ready to go beforehand. My friend noticed I looked really uncomfortable being in a leadership position. She noticed that I was excited about the project, but even with that, she noticed I was nervous more than excited. She wishes that I would have tried to maintain a consistent volume of speech, as I would get more quiet as I finished giving directions. So, all of these show that I need to work on being more present and excited about being able to lead this group of kids or students and take more confidence with me when I stand up or give directions or just talk in general, because it's essential for me to practice on having this leadership presence, because no one will really take me seriously if I continue like I do with these characteristics that I have now. And so after the meeting, these were the pointers that stood out most from the surveys that the participants filled out. The first one is that I focus on relational leadership, which luckily for this situation worked out the best. I am able to give good directions, but need to be more direct so that the group knows I'm in charge, as I try to be more friendly and try not to sound too harsh, which I really need to work on, as sometimes the situation calls for me to be more direct. Sharing my personal story allowed the group to open up more, allowing for the circle to be more genuine. I need to work on my fidgeting when I am talking to a small group, / work on not being so nervous when holding a discussion, as it is known that I am very nervous when it comes to public speaking, especially in a small group, as everyone is able to hear me, and if I mess up, I feel very ashamed for messing up. I am enthusiastic and compassionate, creating an energy and excitement in the group to be involved. I needed to work on transitions throughout the project, as sometimes they were confused as to why we were doing a certain activity, which basically means I need to focus on clarifying the reasons why I chose certain activities, like why I chose meditation, or why I chose the gorilla story, or why I chose the circle of trust. With my action research project, I was inspired by my outside reading book Deepak Chopra, The Soul of Leadership. What stood out to me the most in this book was his acronym for leaders: look and listen, emotional bonding, awareness, doing, empower, responsibility, and synchronicity. Now, the first three, LEA, were actually very influential in the beginning of my meeting with the story and then the discussion. The remaining four, DERS, resulted from the end of the discussion and the meditation. Now, outside of my reading book, there were two main ideas I focused on, both of them being Palmer's. Palmer's discussion of a circle of trust and his idea of an undivided life. The circle of trust was actually an activity earlier discussed and was actually involved in my project. The idea of living an undivided life, we focused on how stress sometimes causes us to try and separate lives as a way to maintain the stress. And so my personal mission statement has actually been very influential throughout this whole process. I want to grow into a leader that not only helps people grow through experiences successfully, but allow myself to learn as well. I want to not be constricted by my personal limitations and show others that they have the strength to do the same. Now, I shared with the group that I have a medical condition caused by stress. So whenever I do stress, I have very bad stomach pains and usually feel nauseous and dizzy. And I don't want other students to feel this way, so this project was focusing on how I can help other students, if only a few, reduce the stress in their lives and learn how to control it. So, lessons learned from this project. As Deepak Chopra says, I need to learn to empower myself, as I need to learn to be more authoritative when it is necessary. I need to learn to clarify why I use certain activities or why I use certain ideas in projects I do. And I just need to be more confident in myself, as this would really help with my nervousness before public speaking and help fix the first two listed points. On another note, I can do much more and expand this idea of my project much further to a much bigger audience. And I learned that Circle of Trust is very helpful in discussing such stressful topics. So, in recap, this is my action research project. Thank you.